Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus is my friend.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
I have a friend in Jesus.
Do you want to die, Sydney? Your mother sure didn't.
Fuck you, you creep. Please God.
Jesus wept.
Another shot if I shot him.
I got plans for you. I'm gonna slit your eyelids in half so you don't blink when I stab you in the face.
I don't know what death is.
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Blood.
Gut and B-movie trash talk.
Hey, this is Trevor, and I have my partner in crime here, Steve Norman.
Hello.
Hey, Steve, how you doing today?
Pretty good. How about you?
Good. It's Halloween. I'm excited about that. Our first podcast today on Halloween. We're actually going to be reviewing the movie Final Exam.
From 1981.
From 1981, yes. I've never seen it before. Steve, you seen it?
I've seen it in 2009, so 5 years ago.
Ah, okay. Well, I've heard some mixed things about it.
Mostly bad.
Yeah, mostly bad. A lot of people really like it, from what I've heard.
Mostly bad for me.
All right, well, just to give you a rundown of what to expect, we are simply doing movie reviews on horror cinema in general, mostly B movies. We want to take the opportunity to watch them, review them, and let you know whether or not it's worth your time to really sit down and watch it. So, we'll try to get 2 movies in there a month for you guys to listen to. We're definitely going to make sure that we have our Twitter accounts posted, so that way you guys can throw in questions or even requests. If you guys want us to review a particular movie, we may look into it and see what we think about your idea and possibly do it.
You want to say what your Twitter handle is?
Yeah, it is Trevor Turpin.
At Steve Normand.
At Steve Normand. All right, so you got both of those, and we will have one here shortly for the podcast, so that way you can post something there as well if you're too cool to send a message directly to us. But we will have that. Another thing with doing these reviews, we're going to also have a random Joe Schmo guest. Now, we don't have one today, but we kind of want to leave that up to the audience. And if there's anybody particular that they would like to see on the show. I mean, we're not going to have celebrities or anything like that. What we want to do is to get just a random person to watch these movies with us and kind of get, I guess, an unbiased opinion on these films. Somebody that doesn't watch slasher films. Because myself, I love them. And
I'm a big fan.
Yeah. So we're both fans of the genre. But, we definitely want to get that unbiased opinion. But now I guess we can definitely jump into the review here. Like I said, we are watching Final Exam.
1981.
1981. And who directed this, Steve?
Jimmy Huston wrote and directed, it looks like.
One of my favorite directors.
He's gone on to do other fine things, I'm sure. It's from 1981. Looks like it was filmed in North Carolina. Takes place in North Carolina and has a $60,000 budget.
Oh, man. All right, well, that...
You would never be able to tell, though.
Yeah, that is not a lot of money at all. I think Halloween even had a bigger budget than that.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, Final Exam. It starts out with these 2 college lovebirds, I guess you could say, in a park or parking lot of some sort, making out. The guy's trying to get his feel. Girl's very uncomfortable. She's kind of sensing something eerie, and he's just has his eyes on the prize, really not paying attention. Then the killer comes in and pulls the dude through the through the roof of the car and
cuts open the soft top and pulls him out while he's driving.
Yeah, and then kills him.
What's the moral behind this kill, though? I think what they were trying to say with this scene is, this lovely young lass will do anything you'd like as long as he would tell her he loved her.
All of a sudden, the car's not good enough anymore. Is that it?
Which he didn't do, and Then he died.
Yeah, he definitely, I would say, messed up there. He should have just told her he loved her, that's for sure. But yeah, then the movie goes on to, I guess this is a community college of some sort. Maybe a university in the film, but I believe it was shot in a community college.
Crack house?
It does definitely look like a meth lab exploded inside.
Lavish wallpaper.
Yeah. But yeah, then it goes to this school, and these kids hear about a murder from another school, and first off, this is a very, very hard film to really describe the plot. It is.
There's not a lot of it. It's just kind of a lot of filler with some slight grab-assing and
Yeah,
little jackassery.
Yeah, a nice little fun fact here is the first kill is within probably the first 3 minutes of the movie, and you don't see the next kill until 55 minutes in, which is a lot of fuck around time, I would say. I don't know if there's an attempt for character development, but you really don't even catch the characters' names at all, really. It's very difficult to really put a name on these characters, but I think the center of the film's filled with a lot of spooks and build-ups with a false
terrorist attack.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's one of them. Yeah, you have the terrorist attack there. One of the pranks made by the college kids there for the frat. I guess they're having their pledges pull off a prank that nowadays would probably be thrown in prison for.
Maybe you want to describe it?
Yes, let's jump into that. So after the first killing, it jumps into basically all the characters here talking. You have the jock and the hero girl of the film. She's kind of a dork as well. But all of a sudden a van comes in and a bunch of guys with ski masks jump out and they have machine guns and they just start shooting off at random students, and it kind of looks real at first.
Takes place during a exam.
I forgot about that.
So that they could change the grades.
Yeah. See, that's
This is one of the few times where there is an exam or any talk of exam-like things.
The head of the frat, he put this ploy together so he could get an 82 on the test so he could pass.
He grades his own paper during the machine gunning and then slips it in with the corrected papers.
The funny thing is that a bunch of the students that are being shot at have fake blood pouches or whatever during this exam, so there's blood everywhere, and it looks real. As watching this for a first time, you're kind of asking yourself, what the hell is this? Like, these guys with machine guns just jump out of this giant rape van and start shooting kids, and it's really odd, especially considering all the school shootings and things that you see in the news all the time. It's kind of weird, but after the terrorists shoot him, they drag him into the van and drive off.
And they show a black van like the whole movie driving around, so it's kind of, I guess you might think that somebody on there had something to do with it, like a red herring type thing. This movie doesn't really do a lot to trick you, though, or anything like that. And the shooting looks pretty realistic for a $60,000 budget.
Yeah, it really does. The funny thing is that one cop comes to check the scene out
a long time later and isn't very happy about being roused from whatever he was doing.
Yeah, from his busy work. I don't know what cops do. And they're not, tending to terrorist attacks and things of that sort. But
working on those bods.
Yeah. As he arrives, he is told that it is a prank and is quite upset about the whole fact that he had to waste his time driving down there, and tries to get some information from, I would say, my gem of this film. He's the geek, the one individual in the film here that...
Fred Savage's nerdy older brother.
Yeah.
Some might say.
He's my favorite because he's super knowledgeable.
It's a nice info dump during really sweet cuts that don't change color every time they cut.
The dork I found, he's always saying these little lines of dialogue to hopefully make it okay that the killer has no motive.
Yeah, he's supposed to be another really shitty red herring.
Yeah, you get
he
that.
Has a poster of what is...
Yeah, you get that idea. You see his dorm, and he has a bunch of horror posters all over his walls, and most of them are like grindhouse films, like slasher kind of killer films. And he's also just throwing tidbits in, how killers work, stating that, acts of crime with no intentions is a common phenomenon, and he's just saying things like that here and there. So you kind of get the idea that
this movie's going to end very unexplained.
Yeah, that you think he's going to be the one that's the killer, but actually, that's definitely not the case. Spoiler alert there.
Spoiler alert, it's a good setup for this to not explain anything that happens.
Mm-hmm.
That's about the long and short of it. So it looks like this movie's introducing Cecile Baghdadi, and they make it a point to say introducing. Like, I've seen other movies that say, like, introducing Johnny Depp or introducing Jennifer Aniston. This was introducing someone that apparently they thought would go on to greater things after the heights of Final Exam.
Yeah, I didn't find any information about her online.
It might have been the funny name.
I'd say that's probably what they're going for. I don't know, but my gem of the story, I guess we could say, is the geek. He's the one guy out of all this that really came out of the film and actually did something with his life. It was Joe S. Rice. What was the character's name once again? The geek character? Yeah, see, but the movie really doesn't use a lot of the characters' names. You really don't. For as much time is spent on the film with the characters and no killing, you really don't learn a lot about who they are, and I don't know, you don't connect with them really at all, and you don't even hear their names except Wildman. I think that's the only one that
Wildman he's named Wildman, and he has a jersey that says Wildman on the front and Wildman across the chest, so you're forced to know his name.
Yeah.
He looks like he probably shits his pants.
Yeah. But the killer just kills random people. He has no motive.
He has no mask or a gimmick.
Yeah, he has no mask. There's no filler or a backstory for the killer to really help you get through this film during the middle part of it when they're trying to develop the characters and things like that. To me, I think he really liked Halloween a lot. I kind of get a lot of like Halloween tidbits in this, like the way you see the killer out the window and he's staring from a distance and he kind of walks off, or when you see the killer standing and watching somebody, it's from the point of view of the killer, but it's from behind him. Just a lot of the way the shots are set up, it kind of gives me the Halloween feel. Plus, he's even the knife he's killing these kids with.
It's very butcher knifey.
Very butcher knifey. It's the same knife.
It's kind of Mrs. Voorhees knifey.
Yeah.
There's also, just like Halloween,
yeah,
and just like Friday the 13th, there's very strong overarching homoerotic themes.
Oh.
I feel like that's maybe the core of this.
Give me an example.
Actually, there aren't really any in those two, but in this movie, there definitely are. This coach, some say you don't get your money's worth with the lap dance if you're not wearing some sort of sweatpants. And this coach only wears sweatpants, and he tackles boys all the time.
Yeah, the blue he does. And he's very nice for a coach.
And very over-American-ish.
Yeah. There's a few scenes in the movie where he talks to the dork, and a lot of the
dork's like his teacher's aide or something.
Yeah, he's just I guess he does like inventory or whatever in the movie for the coach, but like the cliche coach is like a dick.
He should be like giving him the Costanza, like pulling up his underwear and stuff.
Yeah, like being like this terrible role model for these high school kids, just continuing to the coach. You don't get that vibe from the coach. Normally you'd be like, oh, the coach is going to pick on the dorky kids, or like scream at the athletes and say, oh, you need to go and run laps because you're late for class. I mean, he's just he's like a bozo. He's just not even.
You kind of expect more of a coach from Nightmare on Elm Street 2, with the movie that is dripping with homoeroticism.
Yes.
Where the coach is in that the leather and they got the assless chaps.
Something is trying to get inside my body, and you want to sleep with me.
Oh,
that club.
Oh yeah,
and then he makes them get in the shower.
Oh yeah,
that's a classy picture.
And that is a classy picture. Maybe we'll get the opportunity to review that, because that'd be very fun. But yeah, the coach.
He has no backstory for how often he is in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, he's in the movie a lot, but there's nothing to him. He just walks up and talks to them about inventory a couple times, and then he also gets them out of a jam with the cop, a slight jam.
Yeah, I guess he's got information on the cop or whatever, and kids start laughing at the cop, and I don't know, they have some sort of grudge or whatever, and he likes to use guns when he goes hunting, apparently, and the coach likes to use a bow.
Oh yeah, that's another setup for the final act.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a bit of a bow play, if you will. There's a bit of this movie that reminded me of Scream 2. I guess Scream 2 kind of reminded me of it. Like, they do the giving the girl the letters or the pin, you know? And then he gets tied up and ice down his pants.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
like on Scream 2.
Yeah, who played...
Just like on Scream 2, though, the guy that gets tied up looks like a doofus and is, in fact, a douchebag.
Yeah, dude.
Although he doesn't sing I Think I Love You.
Yeah, dude from... the only other movie I can ever think of him...
He's on
that he was
The
in was-
Ringer.
Oh, my Lanta.
Oh, yeah, The
He's
Ringer.
the guy with the... Takes him for ice cream or something.
I always think... Oh, yeah. I always think of Welcome to Joe's Apartment. Did you ever watch that? Yeah, it's about cockroaches, and he lives in a apartment fested with cockroaches, and they talk and stuff. And
The cockroaches talk?
Yeah.
Ooh.
But anyways, yeah, he's kind of a douche. Never been a big fan of him, but yeah, I could definitely see that, the whole ice down the pants kind of thing.
They did, I don't know, a few things reminded me. I guess it's probably because they're on a campus.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of the score in this?
Oh, well, I thought that it was kind of a confusing score. Maybe not as much as Last House on the Left, but it was kind of like something you would play in a rapist van or something.
Yeah, I agree, very odd. I think the only time the score was decent or bearable was the build-ups, or the time right before the killer was going to kill somebody, or when there was a chase scene.
It's No Neon Maniacs.
Oh yeah, it is No Neon Maniacs, which we'll actually talk about a little later here. But yeah, the score is very odd. Especially at the starting of the film, I just thought it was really weird. I felt like I was watching like an old TV show from like the late 80s, early 90s. It was just really just piano-y and just sounded like it was very catchy, like a TV show. And a lot of
maybe we could play a clip.
Oh, let's play the clip and just kind of give you a taste of what this sounds like.
There you go.
Yeah, kind of
Use the word hokey.
Hokey, yeah. A lot of times it seems to contradict the situation a lot. There's a scene where the teacher's seducing the Flues character of the group, and the music it's playing is like, I almost get like a homely, like happy vibe from it, when it's really wrong because his teacher's cheating on his wife with this student, and it's not. It's not sexy at all, or I mean, like, you don't get that.
I thought he was going to be young Frankenstein. Like, when it showed him, I was hoping it was that guy, because he looks kind of like him.
Wilder? Is that who that is?
Gene Wilder?
Yeah.
You did, yeah. I thought it was
yeah.
like Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
Because that would have explained where the $60,000 went, because it wasn't for that haircut.
Oh, and let's talk about that, the whole teacher. Like, what happened to him?
Nothing happened to him. I don't even know what happened to that girl.
Yeah.
Half the time I thought that the main girl was the girl that was hanging out with him, but it wasn't.
Well, the Flues of the group was the last one of the group to die, which did not make any sense to me at all. She's a dirtbag, and she's the last one. She even outlived the dork that apparently knew everything psychology-wise about serial killers, which was funny. But the strange question, the question mark here, and the real question is, where did that teacher go? because she remember at the beginning of the film she like scheduled a time to meet up with him.
Yeah, he was supposed to meet up with her, and she was getting ready for that.
He just pulled a no-show or what?
Fuck that. He had a better looking girl in his next chemistry class.
And wasn't he a chemistry teacher? And they met up at like in the art class, and he was going to paint her. I don't know if that's what she thought or that was supposed to happen or what. But it's
well, he knows how to mix chemicals.
So yeah. But yeah, that's another strange thing. He just never shows up.
It actually would have paid off if he would have been the killer.
That could have worked out.
Speaking of which, have I told you about my idea for me and my friend at work have this idea where the burning would be even better if we cut it up so that it didn't just give you everything at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like if you cut out the beginning and just laced it back with flashbacks so it was a twist that you found out the guy at the very end, the camp counselor was involved in this. I feel like this could probably do for a bit of a revamp. Yeah, final exam could be kind of cut up and moved around, and you could probably actually make something slightly more salvageable out of this snoozer.
Yeah. I don't know, go back to the whole Halloween thing. I felt like this was like the script to Halloween 2, and then John Carpenter said, this is trash, and threw it in the garbage can.
This is trash. Let's make Halloween 3.
Take it off the air now, please!
Yeah. And so some dude picked it up out of the trash and said, hey, this is kind of cool. We should make this. There's just nothing to this.
Oh, I love when they introduced the dumbwaiter to take the trays down to the washing room by sending the camera down on the dumbwaiter.
Which is a clever little funny setup and payoff that's actually probably the best part of this film.
That is a good part. The killer goes down the dumbwaiter.
Oh, God.
In a very amusing fashion.
And you can only see his feet. And he's just slowly coming down. It just probably... I wish...
It's the second best part of the movie,
Yes.
which is kind of sad, because it's not even that funny.
I laughed. But I was really bored watching
too.
this.
It's because we fucking sat here for an hour and a half watching this piece of shit.
Yeah. So what would you say this was your favorite part?
My favorite part is clearly the part where they get in a bow and arrow fight at the top of the whatever tower that was. And spoiler alert, guy with no mask catches the arrow. Doesn't even hit him.
Yeah, it's shot out of a compact bow, and he catches it in midair.
He catches it.
And then fucking runs down to the guy that shot it and stabs him with it.
That is the best part.
That is the best part. I was about to fall asleep, and then that happened.
And then they jump the fucking shark, and then it almost redeems the movie.
And then he goes back up to kill the last student there, and she knocks the knife out of his hand, and it falls down the center.
Anticlimactically clatters around when it hits the floor.
Yeah, and it just falls down to the floor, down to the very bottom level, and she just beats him with this beam for an excessive amount of time. Like 20, I would say it's a good 20 seconds where she just beats the shit out of him. And he climbs out into these beams and just lets go and dies.
Oh yeah, and he does like a Hulk Hogan leg drop onto the cement, I think.
Oh, and then she...
I was kind of paying attention to my beer at the time because this was a piece of shit.
And then, typically, as a slasher would, he's not quite dead.
Mm-hmm.
And
one final scare.
Yeah. So he gets up to kill her with the knife that he conveniently fell on from about 10 stories. And... but she's over top of him and just starts stabbing him, screaming, die, 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 and he's finally dead. And the odd thing is afterwards, she just walks outside the building, sits on the steps, and it starts playing that lovely, odd piano score that just does not make any sense whatsoever. It's way too happy and
It's like a Frolicking in the Woods score.
It's just bad. It's just not very good.
Unless it's playing in your van.
Yeah. So, in conclusion, the killer just dies like a bitch. Very anticlimactic.
And he doesn't even have a mask, so it's not even like a whodunit, because it's pretty much you just look at him the whole time. He has kind of like a John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin haircut.
Yeah.
He's with a weight problem.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. Or maybe he survived and then played in the movie No Country for Old Men, because he kind of looks like Antoine Chigurh. He looks pretty terrible, but yeah, this movie is tough to really talk about. There's no plot. There's no backstory to the killer, and He kills somebody the first 2 minutes in and doesn't kill anybody else till nearly the end of the movie. And he's killed, and then there's one person left, and the movie's over. There's just... I would say that this movie is definitely, as a slasher fan, just not even in my top. Not even close to my top 20. I don't know, what would you say, Steve?
It makes me want to say that not enough people apparently have any professional pride. So, for instance, like, okay, if you're going to be a slasher or make a slasher movie or do anything, you should probably put on a costume. Like, or at least cover your face, or don't wear your jeans. Like, that's even annoying if you go see a band and they just aren't dressed up. It just looks like some fucking bum that strolled in wearing his clothes that starts playing. And this guy, I could have probably been okay with this movie if he would have put anything on.
Yeah.
Like a bag on his head, or like, maybe a different exotic jacket.
It does. It would add some sort of mystique to it. Like,
he's like a guy that got drunk and wandered over from the campus football game or something, and that's it.
And he's easily 20 years older than these kids, too. So you're just like, what the hell?
They didn't even say anything like, who are you?
Yeah.
It's just some random guy that shouldn't be there.
I don't know. And if, in my opinion, if they would have maybe given a backstory of him, they wouldn't have to dress him up, because at least, like, maybe you finally come to the conclusion that, oh, well, yeah, he's not hiding his face, but this is why he's killing people, so he's somewhat still interesting.
Or he could have a cool, like, mythos about him.
Yeah.
Or he could even have a cool name like Blade Henry.
Yeah. And he just kills people with, like, a prosthetic hook.
Yeah.
Like, he just has a hook on his hand because he lost his head.
But he doesn't even have a hook hand. He just holds a hook hand.
That would have been great, but... yeah, now I think comes the time where we rate this.
Before we rate it, can I just say, I wrote down a list. Okay. So to sum this up, you will like this movie if you like lavish wallpaper at schools, sweet cutscenes during the killer's background info dump, solid acting, being a chem teacher that will drive the girls wild, awesome arrow catching, use of a dumbwaiter, and an awesome scene that makes me wonder, if you're on screen for maybe 3 minutes, can't you pick the pants out of your ass during the other hour and 27 minutes?
Yeah. I don't even remember who was that.
That girl
character.
just is picking her pants out of her ass.
She's picking the deepest wedgie known to man.
And she's only on the screen for like 3 minutes, so I wondered if she couldn't just do that during the other hour and 27 minutes.
And she didn't even wash her hands. No, but she's one of those characters that is in and out. You don't even know who the hell she is, and she doesn't get killed. She just disappears. Like, and that's just another problem. I think they focused a lot on characters in this movie that just disappear.
Well, there was too many of them too.
Yeah.
They could have
killed them off.
They could have killed off the extra ones that you kind of saw, but they could have actually developed some of the other ones instead of just making a couple of random douchebags that die and then just like that's it. Yeah. Oh yeah, what about...
Let's talk about the
scene. Are we going to talk about the scene where they try to rouse the old guy from his sleep in the car?
Yeah, let's not forget about the good old campus cop here.
The guy's legit.
Yeah, pretty legit. There's a scene at the end where a girl that survives is running, and she's trying to wake up the campus cop that's clearly fallen asleep in his campus vehicle.
Sitting down after he's taken a few pulls on the sauce.
Yeah, and she pounds on the window, and he doesn't budge. And she does it for a pretty damn good amount of time to where you would think any average person, even out of their mind, like being drunk, would wake up.
So he may have just died and suffered from advanced adult onset rigor mortis, causing him to be very stiff.
Oh, but yeah, there's just not much with this, and we're definitely going to jump into the rating here. And there's one thing I did learn from this film. If you tell a girl you love her, she'll have sex with you. If you don't, you'll get killed.
I felt like that might have been the message.
I think that was a strong theoretical message in this film.
It was a very tasteful and artsy way to bring that point across by making Final Exam. So bravo, Jimmy Huston.
Yeah, great job with that. But overall, We'll jump in the rating system now and kind of want to just describe how we're gonna rate these films. So we're gonna rate them with dumpsters. 5 dumpsters being just a complete shit show.
1 dumpster being acceptable, because you need at least a dumpster.
Yeah, you need at least 1 dumpster. I mean, these movies didn't win Academy Awards by any means, but there's still these type of movies out there that are entertaining. So, I'd say that this is the first review, and I'm sure I've seen worse movies out there, but I'm teetering
Silent
between...
Hill sequel?
Yeah. I'm teetering between a 4.5 and 5 here.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. This snoozer dumpster fire definitely deserves about a 4.5.
Yeah.
Name a movie that you didn't like more than this. Can you think of one?
That's a really good question.
Especially in this genre,
kind of genre.
Like a horror-ish movie in general. Like,
no,
there
I
are
don't
some
know.
with more convoluted. Well,
Because
there
even-
aren't even any with more convoluted plots.
Yeah, see, that's the biggest problem for me here is that what I like about horror movies, slasher movies, is that you don't have to have the greatest story for it to be entertaining.
The only thing I ask for a movie is to entertain me.
Yeah,
I'm pretty forgiving.
You have all these characters in here, and you don't kill any of them off. You just let them disappear. And there's an hour with almost an hour with no kill. So it's just like, you could have entertained us by simply throwing a few more deaths in here. And I'm going to mention this right now. A big problem, too, is the fact that the kills were just so weak. They weren't creative. The Pledge's girlfriend that's killed, he literally just grabs her and pulls her into the dark. And you don't even know if she's dead or not. Or killed. Mm-hmm. You assume she gets killed, but he either just stabs somebody and then it just he literally is just excessively stabbing somebody and then cuts to a new scene. There's no clever.
The problem with this movie is you should either be a good movie or a really bad movie, but this movie is stuck just being forgettable.
Yeah. The story is completely terrible. The kills are terrible. The killer himself is boring.
I wonder what they spent the budget on. Do you think it was all spent on that shooting scene? Because, look at it. We're watching the movie silently while we're recording this, and every time it cuts a scene, it changes color, completely. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. Keep in mind, I'm going to give it a 4.5. 4.5 dumpsters out of 5 dumpsters. And the only reason I don't give it a 5 is because this is the first review, and we're probably going to run into a movie that's just
there could be something
shit.
Worse.
Yeah.
So the only reason this isn't a 5 is just because we don't know that there isn't something worse, but it doesn't mean it can't be. A 5 just equals all out dumpster fire.
Yes. But another reason why I'll give it a 4.5 too is that they only had $60,000 to make this movie, and it's somewhat believable that they're in a school.
Well, they are in a school.
Well, they're in a school, but there's, for example, the scene where they're eating lunch. There's tons of kids in there. It seems. I mean, you have to pay actors. You have to pay the people filming this, and it's not. This is back in the 80s. It's not filmed on digital. I mean, it costs a lot of money to make movies on film. So you think maybe the fact that they didn't get such quality actors and these quality cuts were the best they could do, that maybe they spent all the money on film to keep reshooting? I'm going to throw this out there and say that this movie sucked, and I'm not going to give all the credit to the low budget for it being bad, but I'm going to say that there's a possibility they had to adjust some of the scenes or some of the particular kills or situations because they simply didn't have money to do it. I don't know. I'm going to blame the actors. When you have such a strong script like Jimmy Huston gave him to work with, I don't know how the fuck you screw it up and make it such a turd. But they did it. Yeah. But yeah. It's just too bad. Yeah, it's too bad because it could have been, I don't know. This is some strong material they were pulling from, so I don't know. A few more kills within the boring second act of the film could have kept you in it and probably put it at a 3. It's about an average dumpster. Yeah, so I think this just has a lot of problems with the story. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they shot this without a script.
Runs a little long in the tooth.
Yeah, maybe they're writing it. A lot of independent films, sometimes that happens. They rewrite the script as they're actually filming it, and so they just don't even know what the hell they're doing. But I don't know. I give it a 4.5. What do you think, Steve?
I would go with that only because I can't really think of anything that's worse.
Mm-hmm.
But we might not have seen it yet.
Well, I think, yeah, that's it. After rating it, would you recommend this to a slasher fan?
No, because I am a big slasher fan, and the only parts that are worth watching are the catch of the bow and arrow and the leg drop out of the balcony, along with the dumbwaiter bit, which aren't even worth really Googling.
Yeah.
If somebody even put it up on YouTube.
Yeah, I agree. I would say, even as a slasher fan, I would probably never watch this again, and I have...
This is the second time I've watched
and
it. I'm never watching it again.
I was just going to mention that, Steve. I have... I just feel very bad that you had to sit there and watch this again, and I could tell it was just draining you when we were watching this. You had your glasses on, and you had a blanket covering you. You were tired, but...
I fell asleep with the glass in my hand for a second. I dropped the pen I was holding to write my notes, and I thought I dropped my drink too.
Yeah, but so if I'm not going to even recommend this to a slasher fan, I wouldn't recommend it to a regular viewer. It's something that you would shut off probably 30 minutes into it because nothing happens the whole movie. You may not
make it that
far.
far.
It's terrible, but so that's it for Final Exam review, and we are going to be doing another review in 2 weeks, and we will be reviewing Neon Maniacs.
Classy. Much better soundtrack.
Oh, much better soundtrack, and I think they had a bigger budget with this one. A little more than $60,000 probably. I've seen it before. It's been a few years since I've watched it, but definitely check it out. If you have any questions, any funny things that come up that you'd like to chat about, we'll definitely bring it up in the podcast and discuss it. But until then, we will talk to you later. Thanks.
Good day, Seattle, and good mental health.
Yeah.